Hello, everybody. What's going on?
Hello.
Hi.
All right. Well, today is October the 12th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome everyone to After the Game.
Okay.
Uh-oh, we just lost somebody. But hey, in the meantime, we have Liz in the building. What's going on, Liz?
Yeah.
Lacey Dawson, what's happening?
Ciao. It's all good.
All right. And we also have LaShawna, and she will
She's
be
on her way
joining us
back.
shortly.
She's on her way back. She said her system shut down.
she likes to make her entrance.
Well, good. She can have a grand entrance at any moment.
Yeah, that's right.
But in the meantime, just how's everybody's day been? Everybody's looking so lovely and tidy for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So how's
Making an
everybody's day
effort.
been?
I almost got my hair done. Just couldn't do it.
Okay. Well, you did a good job there.
Mhm.
He said you did a good job.
You worked what you had to do what you could. Work what you
I
had.
did what I could.
And yeah,
Mhm.
so I give you high marks there for trying.
Okay.
Your hair
All right,
looks
let's not get
wonderful
carried
too,
away.
Tyrone.
Well,
It's
I
a thin
definitely
line.
appreciate that. It took a lot of work to get it to where it is now, and
Mhm.
I'm sort of proud of myself there.
Right.
But you're not doing bad yourself over there, Liz.
I'm just, a ponytail girl.
I
No,
like that.
no fuss, no anything, just a ponytail.
All right. Well, we're going to get started here
Is Shauna
in
back?
just a few minutes. We're waiting on
Yeah.
LaShawna, but
Well, you can
she's working
go
her way
ahead and
back.
run some commercials right quick.
Yeah, you go ahead, commercial break.
Yeah, especially you can do the panty platter and get that out of the way. No offense, but
No,
let's get that over
no,
with.
no, 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 no. We can't do that. We
Okay.
can't do that. We got a
Get
certain
this
order
and
here
you
we
can
got to go by. Yep.
okay.
All right. So here we go after the game.
Hi,
All right. We're back.
we're back. Yeah.
All right. Today's topic is Herschel Walker, and so that's what we're going
Oh
to talk
boy.
about.
Yeah.
That's what the producer said that today's topic was about. It's about the great Herschel Walker, the good, the bad, the ugly, and so we'll talk about everything Herschel Walker as he's
Okay. I
making
mean,
his run for Senate.
that should be interesting.
Absolutely.
You should definitely going to invite some comments. So I'm okay with that.
All right. Okay. Well, let's kick things off before we get to Herschel Walker.
All right.
This month, October, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Right.
It is.
Yeah. Near and dear to my heart. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so it's a great time of the month. You see, I have on a pink shirt.
I see
You
that.
see a lot of our background is pink, and
Yeah.
it's definitely the month that we need to acknowledge. And so there's a lot of people that have gone on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out here battling such a dreaded disease. So I always want to keep that in mind.
There's also a lot of people in remission.
Yes.
Shout them out too.
That's excellent. That's right.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right. So continue to read up on things about breast cancer and
Right. And
there's
go
something
get
else.
your
Anything you
mammograms,
all,
ladies.
So get a
Go
mammogram.
There you
get
go.
your mammograms. I know it's not fun. It's just a smush, a couple of smushes, and you'll be done. It can save your life. So please, a little discomfort in the short term can extend your life in the long run.
Amen.
and how often do you get mammograms?
Generally, I want to say after 40, you get them once a year. I can't swear to it because I'm not a doctor, but there are other people who have to get them more often or even less often, just depending on your situation.
Lashana.
I know. Hey,
Hi.
what's up? Sorry, y'all.
Sisters are in the house. Love it.
Difficulties
All
are
right.
involved. What's up?
Hi.
So I hear we're talking about breast cancer awareness, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. So you are correct. If you
Absolutely.
don't have a family history of breast cancer, then starting at 40, you need to get a yearly mammogram. So let me just say this. Black women, although it's said that we have a lot of instances of breast cancer, we don't get it more than white ladies do, actually. What the problem is actually we die more because we don't necessarily get the services and treatments that we need to go ahead and correct it. So one thing that I did learn this year, that Black women tend to have denser breasts. And so if you have a dense breast, when they do the mammogram, you don't necessarily, they can't read all the things through like the mammography. So if you're ever told as a Black lady out there or a woman out there that you have dense breasts, you may need to go ahead and ask for like an MRI so that they can really look and see. And so that's some of our problems. We have denser breasts. They're not picking it up as early as they would if you don't necessarily have a dense or heavy breast. So that's one thing. Make sure men are checking their stuff out too, because men do also get breast cancer.
Breast cancer, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like 1 in 100 get it or whatever. And so if for no other reason, my brothers, you know, Richard Roundtree, Mr. Shaft himself had breast cancer.
No,
So, I mean,
I did not know that.
yes, ma'am. So it is a thing that will affect our brothers as well. So we say it's, you know, think pink and make sure that you go ahead and get those checkups.
That's
All right. So, sorry, y'all. What else we got going on?
It's time to hit it or quit it.
Alrighty, so as we're talking about the things of just being aware, we'll go ahead and say like this week was mental health awareness. And so we do know that especially since COVID, mental illness has been at an all-time high. So it's like 1 in 5 people will experience some kind of mental health episode, including depression, anxiety, or even like, you know, deeper mental illnesses. And so for our Hit It and Quit It, we're going to talk about Miss Brittany Griner. And so we know that her wife last week did an interview and she was making the rounds talking about her wife. And so she's concerned about her mental health. Now, she's only spoken to her twice since she's been over there in Russia. And so the first time she talked to her back in February, things were kind of up and good. And so when she spoke to her last week, though, now she's feeling a little down. And so she feels that since the case is not necessarily moving forward, that she's being forgotten over here in America, like we're not really checking for her. And she's not really sure if she has to stay those 9.5 years, like, you know, those 9 years that she's going to make it. And so we say that I feel really bad for the wife because here she is in America and she can't do anything for her wife, who's in a deep, dark place. But as we're talking about this mental health thing, you can. So here we are in America. Like, if you have, please check on your folks. Please check on your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when someone's not in the best mood. And so we do ask that, you know, mental health should be checked into all the time. So prayers for Brittany, prayers for her wife, because I know that has to be a struggle, but to be someone that has to care for someone with mental illness, but we have to do our part and for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Self-care is a good thing. Check in with yourself. Like, you know, take a mental health day, man. These jobs don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really don't care. And so make sure that you do have those people that you can kind of count on and check in with. And so we do know that just in July that the suicide hotline number has gone live. And so it's 988. So if you ever need to talk to someone or get some treatment, if you feel like you're on the edge, 988 is that number that you can text or call and get some help that you need. So,
okay, well, LaShawn, thank you for that, because I was not aware that 988 was a suicide and crisis lifeline. I had no idea. So that's good information to have. I do want to point something out about Brittany Griner, though, because, you know, even here in America, I mean, you know, prison is not a place where they're really all that concerned about your mental health.
Or your regular health, for that matter.
Or any health. Exactly. So I understand her concerns. I understand Brittany Griner's wife's concerns, but I don't know how how much mental health aid she's going to get in prison over there. You don't get any in prison over here either, or very little. So
that's true. That's why it's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have to kind of wait on the sideline and just hope and pray that the best comes out. And we know, Lizzie, they go to court when?
They have a court date, October 25th, for her appeal.
that's good.
And so we're just gonna, if you pray, send one up for Brittany that she might win her appeal. But also, in Brittany Griner news, they are saying, the United States are saying they are working out negotiations. So even if she doesn't win her appeal, she might still be home by January. So they said they're negotiating to get her, and I forget who that man's name. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah.
But they're working to get her and a gentleman out of there and get them back to the United States. So. And we just don't know what she's going through. You don't know what she's suffering through. And I mean, jail is jail, but and then being in jail in a foreign country away from your family and friends has to be hard for her.
But nobody, you can't even talk to people. Yeah.
And I'm still standing on my stance that, you know, when you commit a crime, you need to be punished. But I believe punishment should fit the crime, and I think that Brittany Griner's punishment was maybe a little excessive.
Super excessive. Yeah.
I would agree.
Oh, and one last thing. It's also, I want to say, Domestic Violence Month. I don't know how it can be all of those things, but hey.
Well, you know, we only have so many months in a year, so they try to fit in as much as they can. So yes, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So to those who are in domestic situations, we do recognize the struggle that is. And so if you need some help, please get some help. Like, you don't have to stay. But it's scary out there because, I mean, you halfway don't want to tell a man no to give him a phone number because we see so many instances of people kind of losing their minds, you know, chasing down women, beating them up. So
drugging you, putting it on the towel, when you pass out, when you touch a car door, they do it all.
It's a whole lot of stuff going on. So, but we do recognize the survivors of domestic violence in the month of October as well. So survivors of violence and breast cancer, bless you.
What's going on?
Yes, ma'am. All righty, so I think we're wrapping up with our little introduction piece.
We hit it. Now let's quit it. Let's
quit it. That's
right. All righty, sounds good.
All right, we welcome Blackjack TV, and we thank Blackjack TV for simulcast. You can watch us on YouTube, obviously, but also on www.blackjacktv.net. So we thank the Jack. Heavenly Star Mobile, 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101-A, Macon, Georgia, 31204. Latanya, she can be reached at 478-747-9231. That is 478-747-9231. Heavenly Spa Mobile, where relaxation is the key. And we thank the Panty Platter, www.thepantyplatter.com. For all your intimate occasions, please check out www.thepantyplatter.com. And we have an ad that we're going to run. And then on the other side of the ad, we'll come back and we'll talk about number 34 from the University of Georgia, Herschel Walker.
Okay.
Just hang in there, bear with us for just a moment.
Okay.
You got to just stare and smile, everybody.
We'll just tell them, go check out the
Hi, I'm Latanya. I'm the owner of Heavenly Spa Mobile. I've been in this business 19 years plus. If you're in dire need of a massage for achy muscles, back, neck, shoulder, hip, legs, feet, come on down and schedule an appointment with me. You can't go wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking care of you because no one's going to be able to take care of you. I'm located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, and that's in Building 8, and that's in Macon, Georgia. Again, you can go online to Heavenly Spa Mobile to schedule your future appointment, or you can reach out to me at 478-747-9231. I look forward to seeing you soon.
us soon. And now I'm looking forward to hearing about Herschel Walker.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we've titled tonight's show "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Mr. Herschel Walker." All right, and so like we know that he is big time in the news right now with his political aspirations. So I'm going to start us off with a little bit of probably the easiest job of the three ladies tonight to talk about his good. We'll talk about a little bit about his history. So if you know Herschel Walker, and I'll say this for every, I guess, state, you got to love your hometown statewide football player. So I'd be remiss to say that Mr. 34 for the University of Georgia was like the best player. Shout out to Mr. Craig. Like, so you say he's the best. And so if the question is, what is Herschel Walker good at? He was a great football player back in the day. I don't know about like
what I've heard.
Yeah, so I've heard. You know what I mean? So like back in the day, he was the top. So we'll start off that as a young child though. Funny enough, he was not into sports. He actually wrote poetry and liked books and stories. He grew up and he was a pudgy little kid. He was overweight. He had a stutter. And his mom was like, you have to do something with yourself. So when he got about 12 years old and entering like middle school, he decided to take it upon himself to make himself better. And so he discovered that he had some athleticism. And so he was out there working, running. And so when he got to high school, he was a triple threat. Did not know he was a track runner. He played basketball, but we know he's famous for that football. So he got to football and everybody wanted him. And so he ended up at UGA. He started off, he was third string. He ended up getting like a lucky break in the second game of the season and became a starter. We know that he went on to win a Heisman Trophy. So that was big time for him. He also continued though to run track during that time. So that's kind of neat. Like I never knew. He got out of college, and then so the time he spent 15 years in football. So he started off in the United States Football League, where he met his very good friend, Mr. Donald Trump. That's important for later. He owned that football league. He played with them with some success, and then he found himself at the Dallas Cowboys. And so lots of people know him from the Cowboys. And then he went on to be traded. Now, like, here I go. I'm just talking really good, and I forgot where he got traded to. But we know that he spent, like I said, 15 years in football. Mm-hmm. Now, he went on after that and got into mixed martial arts. Now, one thing I thought was kind of neat is he wasn't a weightlifter. Like, he didn't do weights. He did sit-ups and push-ups. Like, who's doing 2,500 push-ups and sit-ups a day to get a fine? Like, I mean, his body, like, I don't know, that little Georgia picture, he was kind of fine. Like, you know, he was actually putting in some work. So he went on and he was an old man playing MMA. Because of his speed and his strength, he was a walk-on to the United States bobsled team. Who walks on to a bobsled team? Like, I just think that's weird. But because of that strength and the speed, it made him a good choice for that. So we know that the good piece of Mr. Herschel Walker is his body of work as an athlete. And so with that, we're going to go on and hand over. Like, anybody want to say anything about his athleticism? I don't know. Y'all know I'm not a football lady. Okay. So, you know, I had to look it up. I hope I did well.
That's not a problem. I feel like you covered everything that's important.
Okay, so I'm like, I'm good. I hope I said well. Mr. Craig, don't hate me. I hope I did good.
That's his background. But what I'm hearing, and I'm being a little bit facetious here, he peaked early. But his most glorious days were fairly early in his life.
Okay, well, you know, the MMA thing was like his 40s. So he was like he was like the oldest little person that got a KO in the MMA. So that's kind of neat. Like, you know, he's 40 years old fighting much younger, you know.
But that was 20 years ago. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I'm not giving him a whole lot of credit for anything. And
well, we have to listen. So like in an effort to be unbiased, I know that listen, people are gonna vote for this man because he played football at UGA 50 years ago. Like, no lie, there are some people that are going to, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give him his props for that. Like, yay, football.
Mhm.
Good job. You know what I mean? All right.
Okay.
So
All right. So I'd like to take over at this point, and I want to talk about not so much athletes in politics, but because he's proposing to be an athlete in politics. And as I did my research on Mr. Walker, I was trying to comb through his history and figure out what he was bringing to the table, and I wasn't able to find a lot. He doesn't have any real history in politics at all, and so I tried to look at other things that he can maybe bring to the table because like we've had some very successful and prominent athletes that became politicians like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura. I mean, they got to be governors, and that's pretty impressive. I didn't live in California or I think Minnesota, so I don't know what kind of a job they did. I do know that neither one of them is the governor now, but that happens to everybody. But
right.
I was looking at I was trying to find something in his background, in his professional history after sport, that made him qualified in any way, shape, or form for governing anyone. And so what I did find was under Donald Trump, he was appointed to the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure exactly what that means. So I went ahead and checked it out. It seems that a lot of athletes, get appointed to this, which is not a bad thing, but it's not really a position of any kind of authority. It's kind of you're kind of a figurehead. And so, like for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the chairman of this council for 3 years. FloJo, the wonderful late great FloJo, she was a co-chair with Tom McMillan. He was a basketball player. She did this for let's see, from 1993 to 1998. So she was there for 5 years, I believe. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about that. Love FloJo. Lynn Swan, the great Lynn Swan, the football player, he was there for 3 years. Then they had, then they started doing this co-chair thing in some cases. Drew Brees and Dominique Dawes. Lou Ferrigno was this person, the chairman in 2018. And in 2019, Donald Trump appointed Misty May Trainer, Mariano Rivera, the New York Yankees closer. That's my boy, and Herschel Walker. So there were three co-chairs in 2019. I say all of that to say that is the extent of his political awareness slash, you know, resume. That's it. And so I said, okay, let me look a little further because he's being an All American. Okay, you brought up the 1992 the bobsled team stint, or stunt. That was they did make it to seventh place. I don't think you get a medal for that, but that's like a participation trophy. I think. I don't know. I don't know. But some of the things that Mr. Walker has done feel very stunt-like to me. The whole bobsled team, 1992. I'm not sure when that movie came out, Cool Runnings, but I feel like it was somewhere in that era. And he says, "Hey, that's a good idea. I want to do that." Okay. And this is in 2014 he won the season 3 Rachel versus Guy Celebrity Cook-Off show. He won that, and so I'm not sure what that entailed. I guess it had something to do with cooking. Since he owns this food company, he should be kind of good at it. But all right. Now, I thought it interesting in 2009 on the Celebrity Apprentice, which is run by his favorite person, Donald Trump. He was actually fired in the 8th episode for failure as a project manager. Donald Trump actually fired him, and the mixed martial arts thing, he had two fights and he won both of those, and he's a 5th degree black belt. So okay, there's that. I'm still looking for where his competencies lie. You see what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
still trying. So I was looking into his actual business ventures, and he has this Renaissance Man Food Services. Apparently, he has exaggerated the number of employees, the amount of profit, the size of the organization. I mean, I have not, I don't have anything in the research that I did that tells me what exactly were the right numbers because he seems to make them up as he goes along. And, and some of this stuff is funny because it's so ridiculous. The government, because of the pandemic, there was a paycheck protection program where companies would get um, money that they don't have to pay back in order to help with keeping, paying their employees. And so and Herschel Walker famously said that, these companies are just, taking advantage and they shouldn't do that. Well, his company actually went ahead and took $180,000. And then he's a board member of a hotel group that received $9 million of this PPP money. And they received all of that and they fired 90% of their staff. So I'm like,
Wow.
the $9 million went or whose paycheck they were protecting, but it doesn't seem like it was the employees. And then he said that his what do you call it? Your company creed or whatever. It's like they're going to donate 15% to charity that they were pledging that, and the charities that he mentioned have said that they have not received any funds from him, and so I'm still having a hard time finding anything that qualifies this man to be a public servant because I don't see where he's ever served anyone but himself. Because I'm not blaming him for that because as a professional athlete, public service is not the first thing that comes to mind.
Right.
But for you to undertake governing a state like Georgia, that being a senator for the people in Georgia, the state that you were born in, when you have absolutely no qualifications, you don't seem to have any idea what the issues are. And I've looked through your background here, and I can't find anything that explains why you would be a good senator. And so I'm going to leave it there for now because we're going to have some other things to talk about shortly because there's a lot of meat here. But I do want to say, I don't know if this is going to be a part of what you're going to talk about, Liz. It probably is. But in his personal life, I do want to mention the mental illness. Since we're talking about Mental Illness Awareness Month, that he has been allegedly diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. And I looked that up because I wasn't sure what it meant. It says that two or more distinct and relatively enduring personality states exist within one person. And apparently, in his case, and these are some of the symptoms: memory gaps, PTSD, borderline and personalities, depression. I mean, okay, substance abuse can be a part of that, OCD. But then I went along with something that I personally feel needs to be looked into because I wanted to see what CTE, if that would be a candidate for him. And that is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And it is caused by repeated head trauma. And some of the same symptoms for this DID, dissociative identity disorder, and CTE, some of them are identical. So I just would like to put that out there that any person who has this kind of a medical mental health issues perhaps should be disqualified from holding office. We'll talk about it more later, but I couldn't find anything to qualify him, is what I'm saying. I couldn't find anything. So I'll leave it there. I'll let you take the reins, Liz.
Right after this
All
commercial
right.
break. Come on, Mr. 411.
We'll be right back. And I mean, we'll be right back. Hey, V.
Are you saying something, Mr. 411? Because we can't hear you.
You're on mute. We can't hear you.
He must can't hear us either.
Hello.
Yeah, I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Keith Morgan, www.ptwithgrit.com. Check him out. He has plans for you. All you have to do is get with Keith Morgan. He will give you an assessment and find out and ask you what you want, what your goals are, and your needs, and he'll tailor it to you. So he tailors the program to fit you. That's the specialty of PT with Grit. So check them out. www.ptwithgrit.com. All right, pass the baton over to Liz.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the scandal surrounding Mr. Walker. His candidacy is really based off lies and hypocrisy. And he's doing what the typical politician does, which is have a tendency to say whatever it takes, to win. Especially when it comes to abortion. When they overturned Roe versus Wade, Walker took the stance of opposition. He stated that he was against all cases of abortion, to include rape and incest. So imagine all of our surprise when his former girlfriend came out of the woodworks alleging that Walker paid for her to have an abortion in 2009 and then suggested that she get another abortion 2 years later. Then Walker denied these allegations, but she was a smart girl when she kept her little receipts. She kept the get well card that he signed, as well as a deposit slip and a copy of the $700 check he gave her for the abortion. Not to mention she has text messages with the man's wife asking if she was aware of the abortion, and they had a whole little text thread where she talked with his wife.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Then we're gonna add to the fact that this man said he was 100% Cherokee Indian, and his mom said, "I don't know anything about that."
What?
Maybe you should have told your mom the story so she could have got in on the line, but she said she knew nothing about it.
No.
He also said he graduated at the top 1% of his class from the University of Georgia, and he didn't even graduate at all.
No.
Then we're going to talk about that PPP loan application where he said he had a company with 600 employees and he really only employs 8 people. And during COVID, he promoted a COVID killing body mist. All you have to do is spray yourself and it'll kill the COVID in your body.
No.
Yeah, really? he had a whole little and so when you add things up like being 100% Cherokee Indian and your mama doesn't know, PPP loans, abortions, and all of that, you wonder what could this man lie about next? Like what could it be? The number of children,
throw it out there, he'll lie.
The number of children he has. The whole time he was saying, I have this one son, and it turns out he has 4 kids, allegedly, by 4 different women.
Oh, he has 4.
Allegedly. He has 4 kids by 4 different women.
Yes.
And the son that he claimed in the beginning, stated that he doesn't have a relationship with any of them. He just likes to pretend. Yet he still has the respect of the Republican Party. He is still backed by U.S. Senator Rick Scott, and I think maybe he has the potential to win.
Bite your tongue, ma'am. Don't say that. Don't say that. Oh my goodness.
I need to get some of that COVID killing body mist. About to be fall. COVID's gonna come back around. Try to see if I can get some.
I want to know where he got it.
He just did promotion for it. From what I could find out, he just promoted it. I don't know who was selling it, but he definitely collected a check and told that good story.
Of course. All right. Okay. I know. I mean, it's actually uglier than that. You're being very kind.
Yes, I am.
You know, because this, but we'll get our chance to talk about that. Right. Right. LaShawn?
It is our time. It's
Yeah,
our turn.
it's that time. So like so let's talk about it. So looking at let's see. So first off, let's just talk about like really. You're right. I looked up. I didn't see him having anything to say that he should run. Other than like, as an American, it is your right to run for whatever office that you so choose, as long as you meet the age requirement, basically, in residency, right? So he falls under that. So like anybody that wants to run, you can run. So he has that. And so I think he might be trying to use, though he owns a business. So like that's a leadership quality. He was on these teams. That's leadership. He does those commercials for the veterans home or whatever. So like he supports. And so that's the thing. So let me just say, I agree with his chances of winning are not that great, but I mean, he could win. And so like the polls say that Warnock is up, 52% with Walker with 45%. So that's a big margin. It's not so tight of a race. And that's unchanged basically since all of his scandal business has come up. Since we've been fact checking, none of that has really changed. But let me just say that there are a couple things that this really is the Trump hangover, right?
Right.
This is really just like because Trump was the president, there are certain things that kind of fall in. So he's very good at now. It's funny that you say he started off saying he was top of his class, right? Mm-hmm. So that like implied that he was intelligent. But then like a couple of weeks ago, he says, "I'm not a smart man." He tried to hit that Forrest Gump. But see, listen, to a key percentage of voters, that's the good stuff. Because like we want someone that's just like us. Now think about it. How many of these old guys, like their glory days really were back in high school when I played football? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, look at Herschel. We got something in common. Like he's not that bright. I'm not that bright. I drink my little Bud Light. You know what I'm saying? And so like it's a hook. That's one. The other part of that is he's friends with President Trump. And we love anything that he will put a stamp of approval on.
Right.
That's good. And then let's be honest, it really is the lesser of two dark evils. And so
right. Okay, so just to feed off of that, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like if you have somebody in a position of control in office, you want somebody that you can control, somebody who's not that smart and doesn't really have free thinking, and you can kind of manipulate and steer to go the way that you want them to go. So the first minute he said, "I'm not that smart," he gained voters right there. They were like, we'll take a slow one over a smart, strong, powerful one. We don't want the good reverend.
Right. And so that, and then like you can always say, we also have one. Because right. Like we can't we like y'all. Look at her. We have Herschel Walker, the greatest football player in history, college football player. If you let anybody tell you, he's the greatest of all times. He's the GOAT, and he's on our side. So we like that. Like he's a shiny, you know what I'm saying? He's a shiny new thing, and so I think that would help him moving forward. Like that would have been something that would have helped him. Now, like really. For those of us on the other side, like all of this stuff come up is red flag, red flag, red flag. Is it a flag on the play in the football game? Is that what you call it?
Flag on the play.
There should be. But if they don't call it, it doesn't count.
Right. Let's definitely flag on the play. And Herschel Walker should like really look into his good brother, O.J. Simpson, and see where being a step in the fetch Negro gets you.
I love the step and fetch it.
Well, you ain't wrong. You're not wrong, sister. Not at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I would like to say a few things.
Yes, ma'am.
I've thought about this, and I'm trying not to be biased because I don't dislike Herschel Walker because he's a Republican. I dislike him because I don't think he is a decent person. And I feel the same way about Donald Trump. That's just the way that I feel. I wouldn't vote for either one of them. If they were running as Democrats, I wouldn't vote for them because they have no integrity and I can't trust them to do what they say they're going to do. Now, some of the observations I've made about Herschel Walker, and some of this may seem a little mean spirited, but it's how I feel. He's got some real issues here. I believe that he may be what they call a functional illiterate. I mean, some of the stuff that he says is just it's like Donald Trump and Covfefe. It's like, what did you say? Cain versus Abel? Huh? Like look, young men looking at young girls in social media. It's like, okay, what's that have to do with these dead babies? Stupid. I mean, he is. You know, it feels like he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Honestly, it's like when you listen to his interviews and they ask him questions about things that he has said or done, he'll deny saying something that you have him on tape. You can show him where he said it. You can pull up some of his political ads and things and say this is what you said, and he still denies it. Anybody who questions him, he likes one of his favorite sayings is that's in the past. You know, about whatever it was. Well, that's the past. Why are we bringing up the past? Because that's all we can use to base our decisions about you is what you have done. And we have to keep talking about this other stuff because you haven't done anything else. I feel like that's kind of fair. He was, and this is maybe a little mean, but it is really apropos. I don't know if you guys remember a show called The Boondocks. I don't know if you ever saw that. Yeah, I used to watch it. My kids made me, and I enjoyed it. The Boondocks. There's this character called Uncle Ruckus that is Herschel Walker personified. You know what I mean? It's like he is so stupid. He doesn't understand when he's going against his own interests. I was listening to a couple of things that he was talking about. He was talking about, I don't think Black people should get reparations. And it's like, okay, and why is that? Well, how are you going to prove how, I'm like, I'm like, okay, you're missing the whole point of reparations. It's not just about money, but money is a part of it. Then he says that there's that he wishes they would stop teaching CTR in school, and that translates to critical race theory, which is CRT. He wants them to stop teaching that because I want to say he said either it confuses people or just makes everybody mad or some really simplistic kind of thing. He's so Donald Trump like that it is eerie. It's and then he was talking about the absentee Black fathers and how that's like kind of like one of the biggest problems in America, and he is Mr. Baby Daddy. It's like, are you kidding me? I don't understand what he thinks he's doing, and I'm gonna now I'm dead serious about this part. I was reading something from Jamel Hill, and she said this is insulting. Like nominating him as a candidate is insulting to Black people, But when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, buffoonery, incompetence, he's incoherent, he's functionally illiterate, he's mentally ill. Like, what? Where does it end? And then I thought about it from the other side's point of view. This is diabolical. I mean, in some ways it's brilliant, but it's disgusting at the same time. Because when you bring out Herschel Walker into the equation, the people of color, Black people, they're putting a Black man out there to run against a Black man. So it's like, okay, we're going to make sure we got an even playing field. We don't. Not mentally, maybe physically, but that's about it. And then, but the Black people who are not paying attention don't know which Black man to vote for, but they'll vote for the one, some of them will vote for the famous one because people are starstruck. But the diabolical thing is that white people can't really say much about Herschel Walker. If he was anybody else, they would slam him. I'm talking about the white people, like even that are Democrats. They can't talk about him because he's Black. Because then it's gonna seem like they're racist. So they're not going after him like they should. You know what I'm saying? They can't because now you're going to seem like you're coming down on the black guy, and it's really diabolical and disgusting and brilliant at the same time. I don't think it's going to work. Oh, and the other reference to pop culture. Dave, did y'all ever see Dave Chappelle when he was playing the blind black guy who doesn't know that he's black? He's with a white with a bunch of white supremacists. That's Herschel Walker. He doesn't get it. He is Liz. You said it earlier. He's a puppet. You know, he is a pawn in the game of politics. They know that he will do whatever they say. He will say whatever they want. He has no. I won't say he doesn't have a soul. He doesn't have a barometer, or so. He's missing something. Like I said, he's functionally illiterate. I don't think he really understands that he's getting played. You know what I mean? I don't think he understands it. I don't think he's capable. But if this is what they're trotting out, I'm just saying, you know, to not just the black people in America, please, all people in America, particularly in Georgia, don't fall for this.
Right. And as you bring that up, like, we need to vote. Like,
vote. Exercise your right to vote. Every time, exercise your right to vote.
And
because
also,
if you don't vote, you
get
don't
on the ballot a competency requirement, please.
If you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain about what's going on in the world.
That's
so
right.
Please
That's
exercise your right to vote.
All right, and as we say, like, what is the election is on November 8th. So please, you know, make sure that, like, it's already time. Like, you've got to go out here and vote. Either side, please look into the people. I know, like, we've kind of harped on Herschel today for you Georgia folks. I'm in Texas, and so, like, you know, we have our governor's race, and that's some serious business. And so, absolutely check into your local, like, the local things. And, like, since this is not this is not the presidency, so a lot of people don't vote at this time.
Right.
But it's very important that we vote on these little things, because these little things are absolute big things. These, like, senators and stuff are going to vote on the laws of the land. And so, you know, have somebody that has some kind of knowledge, you know, it's always the best thing to go with.
And just to give the listeners a takeaway, I want to. These are the things that Herschel Walker stands for. He says he's against abortion, for gun control. I think that falls under the Cain slew Abel, whatever that was. And when it comes to Biden versus Trump, he's one of the conspiracy theorists. He believes that Trump won, or he won't say. He said that he never heard. He lies so much. The Green New Deal, he doesn't understand it. When they asked him about it, he didn't know what they were talking about. I think that might have been the one. And when they asked him about climate change, and he said something about the air being good over here and bad over there in China,
right?
It was really bad. For the economy, he just wants to reduce federal regulations. For national security, he wants to support. He also supports the border wall, because that's important. For the LGBTQ L or R, whatever, community, he said he opposes transgender and same-sex marriage, because he believes that when it comes to same-sex marriage, Congress and the states should decide. But remember, he said to reduce federal I don't understand. Like, he is so stupid. I'm sorry, not the stupid word. He is just so. I don't know if he's ill-informed or unable to process the information.
Right. Well, really y'all have a chance to see him debate. So, like, that's another chance.
Right. You guys
coming up on Friday.
Yeah, so please watch Georgia. Watch y'all's debate. Like,
even if you're not in Georgia, watch the debate and chime in.
It should be.
Yes, make sure. And right now we're gonna go to another commercial break, and we'll be back with our closing comments.
Yes. Okay. Oops. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Or Lacey, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean that was fun. I feel like I got a lot off my chest and I learned some things. So thank you, Williams sisters. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed doing this with you ladies, and I think we had a good week.
I agree. So I will say once again, don't forget to vote wherever you are. Make sure you make that happen. Please be knowledgeable. Don't just pick the pretty color, the shiny new thing or whatever. Like, please get some information. Yeah, so remember that. Please remember to get your boobies checked, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you know what they look like. So if it's something wrong with them, then you'll know that too. And just go out here and be good people, y'all. So.
And just to feed off my sister, I want to talk a little bit about mental health again and tell you just simply check on your strong friends, the ones that always seem like they're happy and they're always put together. They go through things too. So always remember to check on your strong friends because the world we're living in, it's a whole lot of drama.
Okay, let's try to check on this.
Do your research.
Always.
Do your research. Do your research. I can't say it enough. Before you vote, before you go to the polls, but make sure you make it to the polls.
Yeah.
That is like the only time in the world where your voice is heard or your opinion matters, really. So make sure that you exercise your right to vote and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Self-care is the best care.
All right. Sounds good. Alrighty, and so then I think that is all for the ladies here at After the Game. We thank you all for watching tonight. Y'all take it easy. Bye, y'all.
All right, ciao, and
Bye.
cheers.